Today I want to talk about genetically modified organisms, or GMOs, and why they should be restricted. Most of the food that we consume today has been genetically modified. More than 85% of the corn and soy grown in the United States has been genetically modified. What is genetically modified? Genetically modified means that they're taking genetic material from one plant, merging it with another to create something that doesn't normally exist in nature. Genetically modified came about because they wanted to increase crop yields, to enhance the drought resistance of crops, and to also increase the nutritional value of the plants. Now, that being said, it also causes environmental damage and health risks. I want to focus on the health risks of GMO. The first health risk is food allergies. They can also increase toxins, and they decrease antibiotic resistance and nutrition. The first risk I want to talk about is food allergies. Now, food allergies normally occur in about 5% of children and 2% of adults. An allergic reaction is triggered because harmless protein enters the body that our body doesn't like, and it triggers this immune response. This is a concern with genetically modified because if the added protein to the plant comes from a source that's known to cause an allergy or an allergic reaction, we're consuming it and we don't know it. So we could, if you're allergic to peanuts, you're eating a genetically modified organism that has had genetic material from a peanut extracted and inserted with it. So that's a concern. Also, the genetic material could come from a source that has never been consumed by humans before, not knowing what it can do or if it can trigger an immune response. The next thing I want to talk about is how GMOs can increase toxicity. Now, most plants produce low levels of substances that are toxic to humans with no adverse effects, meaning that they produce these levels of toxin, but they're not harmful. Now, whenever you insert this foreign genetic material into the plant and it's consumed, it could cause higher levels of toxin to be produced. This could happen because the genetic material could interfere with the metabolic pathway, causing the plant to become stressed and to produce higher levels of the toxin. One example I found is in potatoes. Genetically modified potatoes that were grown to increase disease resistance, they have produced higher levels of glycoalloys. The next thing I want to talk about is how GMOs can decrease nutrition. Most GM foods, genetically modified foods, have lower nutritional value than their original counterparts. They make the nutrients undigestible or unavailable to us. I found two different examples in my research. The first is it's a substance that's found in infant soy formulas. It's Vika faba, which is a bean in the soy family. And in genetically modified beans, there was an increase in estrogen levels produced. So that was one example I found. And then the second example I found is that a study showing that a strain of genetically modified soybean, they produced lower levels of phytoestrogen compounds. Now, this phytoestrogen compound is important because it helps protect us from heart disease and cancer. So the genetically modified soybean that was produced to increase nutrition is lowering the levels of this phytoestrogen that we need to help fight heart disease and cancer, whereas the traditional or the organic soybean is producing adequate levels that we need for our bodies. Now, those are the health risks that I want to talk about today. Now, in the U.S., Not all labels have to say that they contain GMOs. There are tons of websites out there that tell you what companies have non-GMO products, and they also are websites that show you how to avoid GMO. I ask you next time you go to the grocery store just to pick up and look at that label of the item that you want to buy and see what's in it. See what you're putting into your body. Though there's not a whole lot of human testing going on, there is a lot of animal testing, and the results are frightening. And you think about the levels that they're putting into these animals and what these levels could do to adults. It's really scary. So I urge you, please, no GMO. Thank you.